What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush. Let's talk Jets. Hope everybody's doing excellent and enjoying your summer. The weather has been insanely hot in New Jersey, so make sure you keep yourself hydrated. We're entering an interesting time of the NFL offseason where there's really not a lot of news. As a fan, what you hope for is there's no freak injuries and everybody stays out of trouble as you count down the training camp. So with the NBA season over, the NHL season over, there's not a lot of news for writers, so you got to figure out ways to chase clicks, chase subscribers, whatever you're looking for. And as a content creator, I just don't do that. It's not my interest. You want to generate good content, quality content, something we could debate and discuss. I'm not going to give you top 5 lists and top 10 lists, my favorite game from 20 years ago. It's just, to me, it's just boring stuff. But for others, they got to chase, they need that, they need the volume on their site. So what they do is they pick on the Jets. And for a long period of time, it was warranted because the Jets were just a losing organization, dysfunctional organization that couldn't get out of their own way, and they couldn't make the playoffs. And they still haven't made the playoffs. It's been, 14 years or whatever the hell it is at this point. So a lot of it was warranted. Last year, that changed where they brought in Aaron Rodgers and made some moves where it's like, okay, they have a face of the franchise, a legitimate Hall of Fame quarterback, that this team should win a lot of games and potentially contend for a Super Bowl. As we all know, 4 plays into the season, he goes out and the season goes right into the tank. And it was a miserable struggle watching all year long as there's a lot of could have beens and should have beens and would have beens that didn't happen. So now you go here in the offseason where the Jets had a lot of questions to answer with limited resources. And according to every analyst and expert and whatever, even a lot of the content creators, including myself, the Jets did a very good job addressing their holes reasonably and with legitimate talent. Tyron Smith, Mike Williams, Morgan Moses, list goes on and on. Draft class got very good grades. So this is a team that won 7 games last year with no quarterback. That's just a fact. I mean, they won some games with Zach Wilson and whatever else. So the team has talent. But now, when you look into this quiet time of the year, there's people taking shots at the Jets and literally hating on them. And the reason why I'm talking about this is the Pro Football Talk, they released their power rankings. And, I've had on, guests over the last, 2 months talking about where do the Jets sit? Can they contend for the AFC East? Where do they rank in the AFC? And everybody's like, you know what? They should contend with the Bills and the Dolphins. They could be the favorites in the AFC East because on paper, they have arguably the most talented roster. On paper, a lot of things got to happen in their favor. Guys have injury histories, got to stay healthy, things like that, but they're there. In terms of the AFC, they can compete with anybody because you got Aaron Rodgers. A lot of teams, and that's saying Aaron Rodgers is going to be a top 10, top 12 quarterback, not even say he's going to be elite. So the power rankings come out, and I'm like, you could not, it just screamed clickbait. He had the Jets ranked 25th, behind teams that have no quarterback. I did a list of the Bears, the Steelers, the Saints, the Colts, the Broncos. Hit the Jets behind all these teams. And you're like, all right, clearly he has an agenda versus Aaron Rodgers, who is obviously, he's a lightning rod, man. The guy, he does what he wants when he wants. He's been like that for years, but he's also been a great quarterback for years. But he rubs people the wrong way, or certain people the wrong way, and they always take their shots. So he has the Jets ranked 25th, which is complete insanity. And it was like, all right, let's see how he can possibly justify it. Well, the teams ahead of him have great defenses. Well, the Jets have great defense. The teams ahead of him have a great running game. Jets have Breece Hall. The special teams, Jets got solid special teams. So literally, what is your reason to do this? It's just to troll Jet fans and just pick on our organization while you think they're down and you want to keep piling on. And it's insane. And you see other quote unquote analysts doing the same thing. We're like, oh, the Jets are overhyped. And I'm not even being a homer. If you look at the Jets and how they're currently constructed and the young, legitimate talent on the team, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Quincy Williams, all these guys all over the field, Michael Carter II, there's talent everywhere. And that's like legitimate Pro Bowl talent. C.J. Mosley still playing at a high level. And then you have Aaron Rodgers. How can you look at this team and say, you know what? Yeah, they're not a good team. They're not going to win games this year. To me, if they don't win 11 games this year, not always a disappointment. Everybody's getting fired. The Jets can, week in and week out, can go toe-to-toe with any team in the NFL as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing above average. Just saying that. So obviously, Pro Football Talk is just dumping on the Jets. I'm like, well, fine, that's it. So then, I'm down in Wildwood for the weekend at a country music festival. Interesting experience. Had a lot of fun, surprisingly. And I turned on the Craig Carton show. Let me see what getting kind of decompressing from all the sunburn and stuff. I'm like, let me see what they're talking about. And it was like, Aaron Rodgers in the Mideast is a problem. Now it was analyzing, not only because Aaron Rodgers missed mandatory minicamp, which was a huge story, it was now is where did he go? So now there was levels of criteria. Well, if he went to a certain place, it's acceptable. If he went to a graduation party, it's acceptable. A charity event's acceptable. But if he's on a vacation doing this, it's wrong. So like, I guess it was like, if he's in the Mideast, it's wrong. Northeast, it's fine. Southeast, I'm not sure. It was such a ridiculous conversation. I'm like, are we that desperate that you have nothing else in this entire fucking world to talk about but picking up where Aaron Rodgers went to and how it hurts the team? Do you honestly think, as an analyst or whatever it is, that say week 5, Aaron Rodgers throws a pick, you're like, you know what? Back in June, he missed those 2 practices. That's the problem. Missing 2 practices, 2 mandatory minicamp practices. How many snaps could that possibly be? That's what fucked the season up. Missing 2 practices. Like, the conversation was so ridiculous. All these teams in the NFL, 32 teams, and the only team these guys can talk about is the Jets. It's wild. Now, again, in the past, I understood it because the Jets were a laughingstock. I mean, this channel, you guys know, I rip this team endlessly. But you go into the season like, this isn't like, you're just bored. It's like, I guess it's them for low-hanging fruit. Like, let me throw this out there, and everybody's going to pile on. Let's ignore facts and whatever else. Now, the Aaron Rodgers thing, listen, to me, the mandatory minicamp thing was not a big deal. The reason why it wasn't a big deal, because he's been at every other practice. He's been at all the OTAs. What people like to do is focus on those 2 days and ignore all the OTAs, ignore the cap relief he gave the team, all the other things. He's emerged as a leader on and off the field. There's all these things, but 2 days of practice could ruin everything for him. Like, come on, man. Like, we're better. Like, be better than this. So I just find it funny, and that's why, like, more and more I remove myself from social media. Like, I watch a lot of fellow content creators. Like, I love Ryan's work and Jake Aspman, all these guys, Matt, like guys like that. You watch all that, but you just can't even watch this stuff anymore. It's wild how people continue to dump on the Jets. Now, for me, the one thing I really hope is after last year, they're on Hard Knocks and all this, they kind of felt like they were the top of the top there, and it smacked them right in the face. I'm hoping all of this backlash they're getting now gives them an enormous chip on their shoulder where it's like, you know what? Actions, not words. We're not going to tell you. We're going to show you. And you're going to see all these people that you thought were on your side last year because the Jets were talking to the NFL that are now discounting you and shitting on you like that. Just keep that in your back pocket. Like, Sal loves that receipts thing. I mean, you got a lot of them now because everybody's doubting you. And you got to figure Aaron Rodgers is going to have the biggest one because people are taking endless shots at this guy. And I'd say 85% of it's not warranted. So I hope this team embraces it, writes it all down. Like, all right, we're just going to keep watching, and we're going to come out and just prove everybody wrong and have the season we all hope they can have. So, interesting times. Like I said, I'm trying to just avoid all this stuff and look at it, but some of this stuff is so ridiculous. And it's not from, like, some little kid's YouTube channel or something like that. These are, like, legitimate, like, Pro Football Talk. There was another one, I forgot who it was, too, put out there, like, ranking the quarterbacks. And Aaron Rodgers was, like, 16. I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing here? Like, are we that desperate to get the retweets? Or is it the power of, like, Jets Twitter where it's like, you know what? I'm going to fire this out there, and Jet fans are going to react so much, I'm going to get the clicks I want. I don't know, man. But to me, it's just wild. It's annoying. And it's just, it kind of shows, I guess, the day and age of the media that we're in, right? I guess, I'm a little bit older, so I kind of remove myself from it because you're just like, this isn't worth it anymore. But it's crazy that this is what they do at the Jets still at this point in day. So, hope everybody's doing well. Like I said, the next couple weeks, probably not going to do a lot of content. Let some breaking stories come out. Obviously, we'll be doing training camp previews. The streams with Ian, we moved to be 7 o'clock every Tuesday. And other than that, we'll just pick things up, and see where we go with this. But have a great summer. Hope everybody stays safe. Stay hydrated. Don't drink and drive. I'll talk to you later.